Hey there, this is a quick video on how to make your own spinner or your own sprite in Scratch to use for probability spinners. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my existing sprite, so that one's gone. So to make a new sprite, I'm going to click over here on the paint brush to paint a new sprite. And I'm going to draw my circle. So if you hold down the shift key at the same time as you draw your circle, it'll make a perfect circle. If I let go of the shift key, you can see I can make an oval, and I have to sit there and try to really kind of make it work. So right now I'm holding down the shift key, and no matter where I pull it, it makes a perfect looking circle. So that's step one. Step two, I'm going to take a line. I'm going to cut this circle into pieces. So when you're going to make a probability spinner, think of the way you're going to want the circle to look. I'm going to first cut it in half. So I'm just going to draw this straight down, and I'm just going to make sure it kind of makes it right to the edge of my circle. So there's my first way of cutting it. So let's say now I want to do the same thing. I'm just going to figure out where exactly the middle is. I'm drawing another line right through there. So there's approximately 4/4. So what I might want to do is let's cut this into thirds as best as I can. Let's see if we can do this a bit. Oops. Let's try that again. There we go. So that looks like a good amount of pieces of circle to kind of use for probability, so I have it in its chunks. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to erase part of this line. It's going to let me fill it in nice and easily. If you're having a hard time getting exactly all the little pieces, you can zoom in too by clicking the zoom sign. And I can delete that and delete that, and that looks really good. And let's say I want to make this even a little trickier of a fidget spinner. I can delete this over here. And then delete right to there, so it's gone. So this is where you're going to want to be consistent with your color scheme when you start using or making the fidget spinner. So use consistent colors. You can see I just clicked on my color, click the paint bucket, and then click the area again. I'll click, we'll make this next section blue, make sure paint bucket, and I click here. Then my last color will be yellow, paint bucket, click here. So there's my nice fidget spinner. The last thing you need to do whenever you're making your own characters is center this object, because what will happen is when you start to code it, if I start to spin this, it's going to spin all wonky, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll just wrap that in a forever. So right now, if I spin it, notice how wonkily it spins, and it's kind of spinning off axis, and I don't want it spinning off axis. I want it spinning about the middle. So to make sure you're doing that, you got to center the costume in this environment. So this tool right over here is the Set Costume Center. So you click it, and the set of crosshairs comes up. Wherever you click next becomes the center. So now it's shifted, and it's actually centered exactly in its area. It's centered. And now when I go here and run my code, my circle spins nicely as a spinner. So that's how you center it. And now you're free to move this around and position it wherever you want in your environment, and it'll spin nicely about the center and instead of an off-axis spin. So that's how to center. Oops, wrong spot. That's how to center your costume within the drawing environment. And it's really important to do all the time after you've made your own costume. I see this kind of come up with student work a lot, that they don't center their costume after they draw their own. If you want to make another costume, you can just call that costume 1. And then what you can do is you right click and duplicate it, and now you can make a new spinner. So now what you can do is you can kind of redecide on how you're going to do that. So let's say, for example, we want to make this one, I don't know, make this one a nice, oops, I changed my color of my line. Undo that mistake. There we go. So let's say I'm going to make this, make that blue, paint bucket, blue, and now I've got that line, so I'm going to get rid of that. So that's eraser, zoom in. This could be kind of a little tricky. There we go. Now I just got to get rid of that little piece, but my eraser is too big, so I can make my eraser smaller. Now I can get rid of that little chunk right there. Pick up my paint bucket, fill in there. Now we've got a nice another spinner. So now you have two different spinner types, and you can use nice easy. You can do something like this where you pick the, I don't know, B key to change your costume, or the C key to change your costume. And you go to looks and just make it a nice easy next costume. And that's the C key, and I'm tapping the C key to change, and you can see right here, changing my costume. So there's how you can create different costumes or spinners for our probability spinner. Hope this video has been helpful. Take care.